Hey, before we jump in, as I was looking through my message last night, and I was reading some verses, before we jump into things, I kind of want to set the tone for what we'll talk about today. And could I get Matthew chapter 14, verse 24, up on the screen, Matthew chapter 14, verse 24. And it says, meanwhile, the disciples were in trouble far away from land, for a strong wind had risen, and they were fighting heavy waves. They were fighting heavy waves. Come on, I think some of us in here are coming into church feeling as if we have been fighting heavy waves. Come on, is that anyone in here? You're going through the motions in life. You're trying to hold everything up, and you've been fighting heavy waves, and you're tired, and you're overwhelmed. But I think there's some good news, right? I think there's some hope. Could I get verse 27 up on the screen? 14, verse 27. But Jesus spoke to them at once. Look what he says. He says, don't be afraid. Take courage. I am here. Whew. Don't be afraid. Take courage. I am here. Man, that's awesome. Come on, let's pray. Jesus, come on, we have been fighting. Some people are going through the motions, or maybe some of us just got out of a rough season. God, we pray that in this time, right now, on this brief 30-minute message that we have together, God, that we could have a pausing moment where we could say, okay, God, I'm not going to be afraid. I want to take heart, and I want to rest that you are here, that's enough. Jesus, you being here is enough. So God, we thank you for this, and we praise you in Jesus' name. And everyone said, amen. Amen. Woo! Come on, somebody. Oh, there we go. Gotcha. Hey, you can grab a seat. You can grab a seat. A little bit more. Sidi kalagi. Di sini. Ini cukup. Baik. Well, hey, if you haven't met me, I am the Ignite Teens pastor here. And hey, could we give it up for our Ignite Teen worship team? That whole time, I just wanted to cry. I was like, even if I preached the worst message, those guys covered it for me, you know? And hey, man, thank you guys. Also, shout out to the media team. Teens are ushering, teens that were greeting on the floor, right? We have our Ignite corner outside the room, and our fundraising, all Ignite Teen ran, and it's awesome. Man, I love being a part of it. You know, you want to know come on, give it up for Jesus. Come on, the next generation. You know, you want to know something cool that I've heard is, I heard this from someone that it was said, you know, if you want to change the world, you start with a nation, right? You want to change the world, you start with a nation. But if you want to change a nation, you don't start with the government, you don't start with the law. No, you know who you start with? It's the next generation. Man, isn't that powerful? If you want to change the world, you start with a nation. But if you want to change a nation, you start with the next generation. Man, I'm so happy I get to be a part of imparting and being a part of pouring into the next generation. Isn't that awesome? We get to be a part of building up the leaders of not tomorrow, but the leaders of today. I mean, you saw how awesome these teens were, right? So watch out. They're going to be the ones leading worship every Sunday while people are like, man, how do I get with that? You know, man, there's something powerful when you invest in next gen, right? Youth, teens, young. It's awesome. I love it. And where this comes from is I think it comes from a thankfulness that we have a senior pastor that says it's not about me. I don't want my church to be about me. It's about Jesus. And I'm so thankful PB has just always given platform to young people. I think it's awesome, right? Because if you don't know this, they say that if you want to see where your church will be in 20 years, look at the next generation in your church. And I think our church is going to look good for about 20 years, right? Amen. Right? Isn't that awesome? Killing it from young all the way to teens. It's incredible. And so we're on part 2 of our series, Prepare Him Room. Come on, can everyone say prepare? Prepare Him Room. And as we've been talking about this, a question that's kind of been on my mind that I've been wrestling with. And can I get a leader that can give me some water? I would love some water. Thank you. But what do we do? This is the question I've been wrestling with, but that is, what do we do when we don't have room? What do we do when we are out of room in our life, right? I mean, I'm saying the thought that I think a lot of us feel, but we just don't want to say, right? I'm saying it for you. You know when someone has something stuck in their teeth, and you're in a crowd of people, and everyone's just kind of looking like, what do I do? You know, and then there's that one person that finally has the courage to say, hey, you got something stuck in your tooth. It's celery. It's kind of weird. You should take it out. You know, and and then finally everyone else in the group is like, oh yeah, I wanted to tell you. You know, I'm here just to let the pressure off your shoulders, because times in my life I feel like I don't have room, and yet we have to prepare room for Christ. How do we do that? Right? What do we do when we don't have room? Let's put it this way. Right? I think you've said this before in your mind. Can I really make room for a connect group through the week? Right? Can I really make room to go from my work in Kuningen all the way to Lebak Bulus to make it to a connect group through the week? Is that practical? Can I really do that? You know, can I really serve on a ministry on Sundays? I am so at max capacity Monday through Saturday and Sunday after church. Can I really make room? Right? Can I really take 15 minutes of my Sunday day to stay around in community? Thank you so much, Christy. To stay in community, and instead of rushing to my sushi Tay reservation at PIM 2, because it gets crazy, right? Like I want to say 15 extra minutes to maybe jump into some community, right? Can we do that? Can I make the room for that? And my hope is that through this sermon, something would shift from a doubtful perspective of, can I do this? I don't know if I can. Can I really make room? To shifting to a hopeful perspective that says, man, can I really do it? I mean, is it really possible? Can something kind of change in my life? Is it possible, right? And that's the hope of the sermon. You know, for me, I feel like in the last 4 to 5 months, I've been going through a dark, low valley season. Has anyone ever felt like that before? You're going through a dark season. It feels like a valley. It's rough. Come on, it's hard. Come on, life can sometimes feel like a fire, and no matter how much you're throwing water on it, the fire just gets bigger. Come on, has that ever happened to anyone before? That you're in this rough season of life, and in this rough season, no matter what you throw at it, you feel like you're losing and you're going down. Or maybe you're in a great season now, and you feel you just got out of that. But for me, some of the seasons in my life, I have some family, obviously. But I have family back home, and my parents were in a place where they were close to losing their house, right? And by the way, we're live streaming this service. Can you guys just say, hey, Mom, hey, Dad? My parents are so supportive. They're going to be like, we're going to watch your sermon at 2 a.m. from California, you know, and so I love you guys. Hey. But the thing is, my parents were calling me about beginning of this year, but it got really intense 4 to 5 months ago where my parents are saints. Like, they're the nicest people I've ever met. Like, I came from them. You know, I'm pretty nice too. But if you ask Candy, Ashley, Janae, Alex, they would say my parents are like the nicest people ever. And my parents are... They took the liberty and the responsibility of taking care of my aunt and my uncle who are special needs, as well as they're kind of carrying a lot of the family, and then they're also taking care of my grandma and my uncle in the house, you know. And so my parents were bearing a lot, and my mom had a stroke last year, so she kind of retired earlier than expected, so been pressure on my dad, and my family is going through this place where the government was accusing them of embezzling and misappropriate usage of funds. And we're sitting thinking, like, my parents are the nicest people ever. You know, like, they would never do that. And that was at the beginning of this year. And from around 4 to 5 months ago, it became this really intense thing of court cases and battles where my parents were calling me and they're just saying, man, like, we're just close to losing the house. We got to pull from the house. We're close to going through things. And I'm all the way over here in Jakarta, and I feel like I can't do anything. I feel so helpless. I'm all the way over here. What can I do? And we try to give. We try to come up with things, but I feel helpless. So I'm weighing in with that, and I'm trying to help family with family drama. Well, how many of you guys know you're dealing with your own problems, and then there's family drama that comes into your problems, right? It's crazy. And then from family dramas, I think another valley I was going through is ministry/work life. Come on, that can feel like a valley for some of us is when we're in that work life, right? We are, no matter what we do at work, come on, work is that 8 to 10 hours of our life that sometimes it feels like no matter what we do, we can never match our performance, never get to the level. There's always a new place to get to. And for me, in ministry/work, for me, I'm a pastor, but for me, it felt like in Ignite, we were losing more help than gaining more help, right? We were losing more momentum than gaining more momentum. We were losing ground than gaining ground. And it was in a place where it just felt like it was failing and things weren't growing. And we're just going, right? Because that's what it can feel sometimes in life. We're not growing, we're dying. And it felt like that. And I would pale that into comparison to other people, right? Other people's life. Ministries, maybe you do the same, other people's work life. Oh, the Instagram looks so good. They're jumping off airplanes, but they have a perfect life. That's what we relate to in the comparison, right? And then another thing I think is when you're going through the motions of everything feeling like it's failing, come on, how many of you guys know that affects your personal life, right? You start to lose motivation to want to stay healthy. You see you're on Facebook and you see people posting their oh, I just got engaged. Unfollow. You're like, oh, I just worked out today. CrossFit was so good. Block. You're like, I want nothing to do with the success of your life. And you're looking at people's lives, and in your personal life, you feel small. You're seeing people that are like, you should start eating healthy. And for you, you're like, I don't want to eat healthy. I want to get nasi champur, babi pangan down the street. Come on, Go Food. Come on, somebody. Bobby, the honey from the Lord is pork. Amen. Right? And in our personal life, we just start to shrink. And for me, what started to happen is it started to form this feeling of hopelessness. Right? Come on, everyone say hopeless. Maybe another word we could say is you have less hope. There's less hope in our life. So I was starting to feel that feeling of I have less hope. And for some of us, that can look like different things, right? We're starting to have less hope because of all the things that we are juggling and trying to maintain. Could I get a leader to bring up the balloons up onto the stage? I'm going to do a little analogy. If you know me, see me preach in the past, I like to use analogies. It makes it fun. My church is interactive. Thank you, Phil. Awesome guy. Woo, my ace. It's my boy. Ooh. No, I won't say anything. Good guy. Hey, so as I'm about to get these balloons, I want to walk through maybe some of the things that you struggle with. Some of the things that maybe have made you feel hopeless. In fact, let's talk about hopelessness. What does hopelessness feel like? Maybe this is what it feels like to you. Could I get the first screen up? Maybe hopelessness, or when you have less hope, it feels like you have no energy. Come on, you're going through work and it feels like you're just doing this mindless thing that you think is just gonna fail. What's the point? I just got no energy, right? You have no room left. I think another way that can sound like is when you have no room, what no room feels like is I can only care about myself right now. I have no room to help others. I barely have anything for me. Right next to it says sadness and loneliness. Come on, when you feel hopeless, you feel sad. Don't you feel lonely? Don't you want to isolate yourself when you enter hopelessness? Next one, it says, don't you feel numb? You don't know what to feel. You're angry that nothing's working, but maybe you're sad, but then you want to feel happy, so you try to make yourself feel happy, but then you don't know what to feel, so you just feel numb. Right? That's what hopelessness can feel like. Come on, let's get the next one. I think another thing sometimes we say when there is hopelessness is this it? Right? Should I even be here anymore? Should I even be doing this anymore? I think the last one really resonates with some people, and that is, man, is this all I amount to? Man, is all I can do, is it just not enough? Right? Is this it? No matter what I'm doing, no matter what I'm building, no matter how hard I throw water on the fire, all of a sudden, is this all I can get with? Is this all I'm stuck with? And then we're supposed to enter this place where we say, hey, make room for Jesus, when at the same time we're like, I don't have room for anything. Right? Is this all I amount to? And come on, that's what hopelessness could feel like, this juggle. And let's talk about things that maybe we struggle juggling with. So can I get the slides up of things that we can struggle with in life that we're juggling? Let's see, yellow. Everyone say kids. Come on, how many of you guys have kids in here? Can I see a show of hands? Come on, how many of you guys got kids? Woo! I am single and I don't have kids, but I deal with your kids, and it's crazy. You deal with them like majority of the time. I get them for an hour, 2 hours a week, and I'm like, oh my God, parenthood is incredible. And it says kids, right? Let's talk about kids for a moment, right? You got to get your kid to the next soccer match. You got to make sure they make it to the next tournament. Are they studying? Are they getting ready for their A-levels, their IB? Come on, are they getting ready for the next school? Right? Are they able to make it to that jazz performance they're supposed to? Have they gotten everything in right? Kids. We gotta juggle it. I'm not saying it's bad. Sometimes we think it's bad, but I'm not saying it's bad. Kids are awesome. But how many of us know that's a balloon we gotta juggle sometimes that enters our life? Right, so there's kids, right? Let's go to the next one. Let's pair these two together, right? Let's pair traffic and work or school. Jakarta, traffic, and then you got work. I talk to people all the time when we try to hang out or plan things, and I talk to some friends. I'm like, hey, let's do this, let's hang out, and they'll always say, maaf Jordan, saya tinggal di Pondok Indah, pergi ke Cikarang setiap hari. I live in Pondok Indah, but I go to work every day in Cikarang. Then I have to come back from Cikarang all the way to Pondok Indah. How do you expect me to hang out? What is this? Jordan, you're 25, you're so naive. You don't know real life. I just want to be your friend, Right, work in school, so let's toss it in. I think a lot of us, let's talk about work. Come on, sometimes there's the performance of work, getting to work, feeling the expectations of work. Come on, making sure you're getting to the next level of work. So here we are, right? I think this is where most people are. They're juggling kids, work, and school, and traffic, everything, right? They're juggling. And this is the balloons that life gives us. Wow, is that what we always feel? And before I move forward, what I want to do is Ignite, we love to have fun. We like to play games in life. And, well, maybe not in life, but in Ignite Teens. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a timer on, and I want to get one. Can I get volunteer? I'm going to get someone. Can I get Joel? Joel, so bro, you're awesome. And we're going to do a game. And the game's called Minute to Win It. So the thing with the game, Minute to Win It, I mean, you guys have ever seen it? It's Minute to Win It. What happens is you have to do a challenge in 1 minute. So we've done this game in teens where we've had to keep up a balloon or a bunch of balloons in Ignite for about a minute. Now, some of you guys think, oh, it sounds pretty easy. It's not hard. Trust me, it is hard. And so let me get out. Where'd my balloon go? Oh, it's right here. Okay, Joel, whatever happens, I love you. Okay, no matter what I say, I don't mean it. Okay, no matter what I say, I don't mean it. Then, bro, this is harder than people expect. So could you pop down here? Okay. So Joel's going to come down. So Joel, take these balloons. Okay, there you go, bro. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to set 1 minute countdown on my phone, okay? So I got it right here. So on the count of 3, I want you to start juggling your balloons, okay? You just try to keep it up in the air. Don't let it drop or it fails. No, I'm just kidding. That's how it feels. For a minute, try your best. Take your time. Go slow form some strategy. If it drops, just pick it up again. Try again. Okay, you ready? 3. Can you guys count with me? 3, 2, 1. Oh, okay, we're at 1 minute. Oh, okay, you gotta juggle both. Oh. You know what? I'll help you, bro. Oh my God, I almost twisted my ankle. There we go, we're up. There you go, Joel. Okay, there we go. Come on, give it up for Joel. Okay, 2 fell, but it's okay. Oh, another's falling. Oh my gosh. Just keep going. How about 5 more seconds, Joel? Just 5 more seconds. Keep trying. Oh, you got it. Way to go. Way to just hold them, bro. Sometimes we just gotta hold things in life. Okay, let's pause there. Okay, so Joel, thank you so much. Woo, come on, Joel. Now, Joel, Joel, can you stay here for 1 second? Stay here for 1 second. Okay. Now let's add names to this, okay? Let's add some names. So we got kids, we got work, we got traffic, okay? Joel, same concept. 1 minute, and you're gonna just juggle one more time, okay? Try your best. Just try your best, okay? No matter what, you got this. I believe in you. You can do it. Okay, here we go. Ready in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, he's juggling. Okay, hey, balance this one too. Hey, get that one. Pick him up, Joel. Pick him up, bro. Where are they going? Right? There's another one. You gotta pick it up. Right? Hey, that's okay. Thank you, Joel. That's okay. Thank you, Joel. Woo! You can drop him, bro. You can drop it. Thank you. That's hard. You should try it at home. That would look weird. Your kids walk in, like, Mom and Dad, what are you doing? So I was at church. But man, how many of us know that's hard? And that's what life does. Oh, it's okay. It's okay if you popped it. Still love you. It's okay. That was your kids. You just killed your kids. No, just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. How many of us know that's life sometimes? We think we got it under control, and life's just like, hello, there you go. Balance that. Right, let's look back at the screen. Let's look back at the screen of the balloon colors, right? Because we were balancing life, which is yellow, and kids, which is yellow. Traffic, there's work. Come on, how many of you guys know family? Come on, family can be a little crazy, right? You got all these things you're juggling. Then you have to provide for your mom and dad. You got to be there for your sisters and your brothers. Show up to the family drama. Come on, let's get the next slide. You guys know it. You think you got it all together, and your parents are like, hey, I almost went too far, okay? Right, let's say this is a good one. Let's talk about the black one, which is unmet hopes and dreams. Right, you're trying to balance all these things, but as a parent, you've had to become really unselfish, and you've had to drop all these unmet hopes and dreams in your life. Not happening. Or maybe you're not a parent, but you have these dreams and hopes, and they're still unmet, but you're trying to juggle it on top of everything else. So here we go, we're juggling. The next one, white. White is anything and anything else that you want to juggle into the picture of your life. Everything we're juggling, right? And we enter this place where no matter how many times we're juggling and we're struggling and we're going through, it feels hopeless. Because we're in this place where no matter what happens, I can never move past this. I am stuck. It's this perpetual hopelessness that this is all I am worth. This is all I'm going to amount to. No matter my efforts, this is it. Right? Isn't that what hopelessness feels like? And then we come to church on Sunday, and we have the audacity to make a series that says, prepare him room. And here we are, we're saying, what room? What room do I have in my life to prepare room for Jesus? Right? Because I think what happens is we think like this, as we're juggling all these things, then we got to say, there's the Jesus room that the Jesus balloon that we got to toss in the mix. So I got to make room for another connect group. I got to make room for more people. Got to make room for another thing. So it becomes another juggle struggle. Ooh, that's rhymed. I didn't say that last service. Think about that, the juggle struggle. And that's what hopelessness can feel like. It's this perpetual juggle of I'm getting nowhere. And this is where we picked up in Matthew chapter 14. Could I get verse 22 up on the screen? It says, immediately after this, Jesus insisted that his disciples get back into the boat and cross to the other side of the lake while he sent the people home. 23. Next verse. Do what he go. Okay, after sending them home, he went up into the hills by himself to pray. Night fell while he was there alone. Next verse. Meanwhile, the disciples were in trouble, far away from land, for a strong wind had risen, and they were fighting heavy waves. Come on, everyone say fighting. Come on, we have been fighting heavy waves. Let's go next verse. About 3 o'clock in the morning, Jesus came toward them, walking on the water. There we go, next verse. When the disciples saw him walking on the water, they were terrified. In their fear, they cried, "It's a ghost! Conjuring Tiga!" It's Annabelle. But Jesus spoke to them at once. "Don't be afraid." He said, "Take courage, I am here." Let's go on, verse 28. Then Peter called to him, "Lord, if it's really you, tell me to come to you walking on the water." "Yes, come," Jesus said. So Peter went over the side of the boat, and walked on the water toward Jesus. Come on, we're going to deal, this is where it's going to get good. Verse 30, it says, but when he saw, come on, everyone say saw. When he saw the strong wind and the waves, he was terrified and began to sink. Save me, Lord, he shouted. Come on, isn't that what it feels like? When we see the waves and how strong it is, we feel like our soul begins to sink. When all the balloons we're trying to hold up in life that we're trying to maintain, right, it feels like we're beginning to sink. And it goes on to say in verse 31 and 32, we'll cap it. It says, Jesus immediately reached out, grabbed him and said, hey, you have so little faith, Jesus said. Why did you doubt me? When they climbed back into the boat, the wind stopped. You know, I think when people read this, they're so quick to say, oh, Peter, why did you doubt Jesus, Peter? There he goes again, Peter the failure. Right? We're so quick to persecute Peter for looking away from Jesus, focusing on his problems. But the funny thing is that there's 12 disciples, and out of the 12 disciples, there's only one person that had the audacity to believe that regardless of my circumstances surrounding me, I can take my eyes off of it and onto something more. Come on, how many of you guys know that other people than yourself are going through some hard things, right? Other people are going through things, and everyone's in the struggle where they're fighting through waves, and the waves are hitting the boat of their life, and it's those who would say, I'm not going to look down at my circumstances, but I'm going to look up at something else. That's why we have Peter. Now, the funny thing is when you think about Peter, Peter was a fisherman. So I'm pretty sure when Peter and the rest of the disciples were going through the boat storm, they had already this kind of built-in system of how to handle a storm, how to recover, how to make it on our own, how to pull things together on my own strength, right? So I'm sure what happens is as soon as the storm's kicking in, they're just thinking, okay, we got to do this, we got to go there. This is how I'm going to hold it all together. This is how we're going to make it through. And I think they're trying and they're going and they're doing whatever it takes and they're panicking until finally at 3 a.m, they just said, we're going to die. You know, like, this is it for the fishermen. Jesus made us go through this, you know, and this is all we'll get. And for some reason in that moment where everyone was overwhelmed and everyone was juggling the balloons and everyone is fighting the strong waves, it was Peter that said, hey, there's Jesus out on the water. Jesus, tell me to come. I want to look away from my circumstances and look up to someone. And I think something was happening in Peter's life where he stopped looking at Jesus as another balloon or something. But we have a slide for this. I think something that has to happen in our life is Jesus has to move away from being a balloon that we juggle to being a person that we can trust. Right, I'm going to say that one more time. Something has to happen in our life where Jesus isn't this balloon that we're trying to juggle. Okay, I got life group this week. You know, I got to make room for serving, and then, oh, do I even have room? Oh, I got to do this, and I got to do that, and I got to make sure I fulfill my parents' expectations, and I got to get work. How am I supposed to fit everything into my life? But something's got to move where you say, okay, Jesus isn't just another balloon. Come on, Jesus is a person. And can I get Joel to come up one more time? We're going to do one more example. Don't worry, I got your back. No, come on. It's okay. So Joel, this is what we're going to do. We're going to balance some balloons here. And we're just going to kind of demonstrate maybe what trusting Jesus as a person, not as a balloon, could look like. Okay, so I'm going to be here. Now, when you walk away, don't say the pastor said he was Jesus, okay? Don't say, but in this scenario, I'm going to pretend to be Jesus. Okay, so I'm not though. Woo. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. So, bro, I'm going to pretend to be Jesus, and you're going to be you, and we're going to juggle this. Yeah, so juggle, but then pass me one. It's okay, you can pass me one. I got your back. You can start off passing one. Okay, try to just juggle those two. Okay, look at, oh, hey, we're doing better. We're doing better than expected. Oh, my God. This is hard, dude. Oh. I tried. We tried. That's why I'm not Jesus. Because I will kill your kids, you know, and it will fail. But look at how much easier it was When something can happen where you don't take Jesus as a balloon that you're trying to balance in life, but something can switch. Thank you so much, Joel. Something can switch. Can we give it up for Joel? Woo! It's a hard game. But something can switch when we say, man, Jesus, you're a person. And Jesus, this is something I'm struggling with. Well, this is point number one that you could walk away with, and that is when Jesus is saying, come to me, come to me. He's not trying to put this extra pressure on your life to do more devotions. He's not doing extra pressure on your life to go to church more. He's not doing extra pressure on your life to make it to more groups, to sing more songs, to be a better person. You know what he's saying? He's saying, man, this is point number one. Coming to Jesus means surrendering your balloons. You're surrendering your balloons. You're saying, man, Jesus, I'm struggling with the expectation of my parents and my family, and I got to topple that on top of work and different things. Man, I think some of you in here need to pass that balloon to Jesus. And let's say it's this balloon expectations. You pass it to him. I think you got to trust that Jesus is going to just hit it out of your hands and say, you don't need to carry that weight anymore. Trust me with it. You don't need to balance your parents' expectations of you anymore to try to please them. Come on, I have you. Right? That's what I think surrendering expectations to look like, or your balloons to Jesus looks like, is having this conversation where you're like, geez, I don't know what to do with my kids. You know, we got to do all these things with my kids, and then you pass that balloon to Jesus, and man, who knows, maybe he says, hey, maybe you don't have to do as much. Right? Maybe you could do more together. I don't know. That's between you and Jesus. But something when you can say with the balloons and you pass it to Jesus and you say, Jesus, God, I'm in this struggle where I am just trying to hold everything. You know, I think some of us, we like to hold everything. I think some of us, we like the balloons. Gives us purpose, gives us worth, right? Sometimes it makes us feel like, man, look at how strong I'm holding everything together. Look at how well I'm doing things in life. And don't get me straight, I'm not saying any of the balloons that we're holding is bad, okay? I'm not saying your kids are bad, you know? Might feel like it sometimes, but they're not. You know, but I'm not saying any of those are bad, but I'm saying if we find all of our worth in what we could do for our kids and how we can hold up work and how we can make the expectations and how we can try to get through traffic, it becomes this hopeless cycle of what we could build. And how many of you guys know, a lot of us, we find our worth from that. How well we're holding it up, how well we can do things. But this is point number two, and that coming to Jesus means you're finding your worth in him. Coming to him means, God, I'm going to you because these things make me feel worthless. Come on, how many of you guys know when you're failing in life, it makes you feel worthless? When you're failing in work, when you're failing your kids, all the expectations, that makes you feel worthless. But I think Jesus is trying to say, no. It's because you're carrying the wrong things. Come to me. Come on, can I get Matthew chapter 11, verse 28 up on the screen? Oh, popped it again. It says, then Jesus said, come to me, all of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest. 29 and 30. Take my yoke upon you. Let me teach you, because I am humble and gentle at heart, and you will find rest for your souls. Come on, everyone say rest. For my yoke is easy and to bear, and the burden I give you is light. Man, come to me. You know, the same Jesus that said to Peter, Peter, come to me on the water. Peter, come to me where it's not clear. It's the same Jesus that's saying, come to me who are weary and broken and heavy, and I want to give you something else. The same Jesus that says, come to me who you've been holding these expectations and failures of the past and fears of the future. Come to me, and I got something different for you. I got something new for you. Come to me. Come on, give me your balloons. Could I get Matthew chapter 14, verse 30 up? And this is where I'm going to get ready to close. Matthew chapter 14, verse 30. And this is what it says. It says, when he saw the strong wind and the waves, he was terrified and began to sink. Can I get the worship team up as we get ready to close? It says, but when he saw, when everyone say saw, when he saw the strong wind and the waves, he was terrified and began to sink. When he saw. Come on, I think sometimes in life when we're overwhelmed we get so caught looking down and we feel terrified by all the things coming our way, right? We find all of our worth in that. And you know what happens? I think hope begins to decrease when hope is based on you, right? Hope begins to decrease when it's all about what you're doing, all about where you're failing. I think that's where hope decreases. But you know where I think hope begins to increase? I think hope begins to increase when we can take our eyes off of what we're seeing, right? It sounds weird, right? But we can take our eyes off of what we're seeing now and we can say, okay, Jesus, I need to lock eyes on you. Well, how many of us know that's really hard though? When the bills come in and you're like, the money I have doesn't match the amount I owe, right? How many of you guys know that's hard when what you're seeing with the drama that you're dealing with at home doesn't match the message on Sunday, right? And we're in this place where on our circumstances, it's so easy to stay locked in to where we are, to stay locked in to what we're seeing. But man, I think hope can begin to build. Hope can begin to ensue. Hope can begin to rise when we can take our eyes off of what's going on around us and we find our hope in that, and we can put our eyes on to Jesus. We can put our eyes on to Jesus. Come on, how many of us know that can feel foreign though? You know why I think Peter started dropping through the waves when he took his eyes off Jesus? Because I think Peter, he knew how to fight through storms for so long, how to do it on his own, how to make it all work. So as soon as he's keeping his eyes on Jesus, it's exciting, it's energizing. But at the same time, there's all these waves coming in, so he thinks, man, okay, how am I supposed to take this on? And can I do this still? And this? And as soon as he gets caught looking off of Jesus and onto how he could do it on his own, that's when he began to sink. Come on, but I think some of us, we got to get to a place where we say, man, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Right? I think Peter entered a place where he said, I'm sick and tired of doing it all on my own strength and ending up the same. I'm sick and tired of doing it the same way and I still get the same results. Come on, I'm sick and tired of that. And Peter had the audacity to say, hey, even if I fail, I'm going to at least try to lock my eyes on Jesus. Come on, it feels weird. The song we'll sing is, it's a mystery to build your life on. To not take everything into control, but to say, Jesus, I surrender. You think I'm worthy? You think I'm good enough? You got my back? Come on, that's weird sometimes. It's not natural, but it's in those moments that you can let go. You know, that's called preparing room. That when you prepare room for Jesus, I think hope can begin to ensue. Hope can build up. Hope can rise. Come on, can you guys stand as I get ready to close? Jesus, we pray that from today, God, all the balloons we struggle and juggle, and we're trying to keep up, God, in those moments, Jesus, would we try surrendering? I love it. Even when Peter took his eyes off, you were still there. God, you're so gracious. I pray people would just try surrendering. It's going to feel weird. It's unknown. It's mysterious. But Jesus, would we enter a place where we say, God, I'm going to put my hope in you. God, you're doing more than I can see. God, you're doing more than I can think. God, it looks crazy from what I can see right now. But Jesus, I know that if I put my hope in you, you're going to pull me through. Come on, I pray for people that have been going through rough seasons, low seasons, empty seasons, or even good seasons. That would success and failure not dictate who we are? Would success and failure not cause us to shrink? But God, would we make room? Would we prepare room? Would we throw balloons to you, Jesus, to say, man, God, I surrender. Let me find my worth in you. And would hope begin to increase the room in our life? God, we're so thankful for this, and we praise you in Jesus' name.